The 1970s were a golden age of innovation, especially when it came to gadgets and toys. Many of these toys were ahead of their time, influencing the tech boom we enjoy today. And let's be honest, some were just plain fun. In this video, we'll be revisiting the gadgets every 70s kid dreamed of owning. If there was ever a gadget that made kids feel like mini adults, it was the Pocket Fisherman. This compact portable fishing rod was designed to be a practical tool for anglers, but it quickly became a hit with kids too. Imagine being able to toss a tiny fishing rod into your backpack and head to the nearest pond like a real pro. That's the magic the Pocket Fisherman brought to life. The design was simple but effective, a mini rod that folded up for easy storage and could be whipped out whenever you felt like fishing. For kids, it wasn't just about catching fish, it was about feeling like they were part of the grown-up world of outdoor adventure. The best part? It was affordable, costing around $10, making it accessible for most families. Fishing trips became family outings where everyone, even the youngest, could join in. The next item on our list is sure to take you down memory lane. Simon. The memory game was a hit as soon as it hit store shelves. It was one of the first electronic games that truly blended light, sound, and skill, turning what seemed like a simple concept into a challenging, addictive experience. Simon was a circular game device with 4 large buttons in bright colors: red, green, blue, and yellow. Each button would light up in a sequence, and players had to press the button in the same order. Sounds easy, right? Well, it wasn't. As you got further, the sequences became longer and trickier, making it an actual test of memory and reflexes. One wrong move and Simon would let out that unmistakable bzzzt, and you'd have to start all over again. This game wasn't just for kids. It was easy enough for younger children to understand, but challenging enough to keep adults on their toes. In 1978, the Merlin handheld game hit the market, and it quickly became a must-have for any kid who loved puzzles and brain teasers. Merlin looked like a cross between a calculator and a futuristic phone, complete with its signature red color and grid of 11 buttons. But what set Merlin apart from other gadgets was its versatility. It featured 6 different games in one device. Merlin offered everything from tic-tac-toe to music composition, making it a portable wonder for long road trips or quiet afternoons at home. The games were simple but engaging, testing everything from memory skills to strategic thinking. It even had lights and sounds to keep everything exciting. Merlin became an instant hit, selling over 5 million units in its initial run. For many 70s kids, it was a brain-boosting gadget that entertained them while challenging their mental muscles. But for kids who loved to get creative, Lite-Brite was the ultimate art tool. Lite-Brite lets kids turn colorful plastic pegs into glowing masterpieces, and it became popular in arts and craft time in many homes. The concept was simple but brilliant. Kids would insert tiny colored pegs into a black screen, following a template or creating their own designs. When the screen was backlit, the pegs would light up, revealing a vibrant, glowing image. Whether it was making a favorite cartoon character or just experimenting with patterns, the possibilities were endless. Lite-Brite encouraged creativity and provided endless hours of entertainment. While Lite-Brite remains a nostalgic icon of 70s creativity, who could forget Stretch Armstrong, first released in 1976? This action figure was unlike any other toy in the market. Instead of being hard plastic or immovable, Stretch Armstrong was, well, stretchy. Kids could pull, twist, and stretch the toy in every direction, and he would always snap back to his original shape. Stretch Armstrong could be stretched to over 4 times its original size, making him the perfect companion for any kid with a wild imagination. Whether you wanted to see how far he could stretch or pin him up against other action figures in epic battles, Stretch Armstrong was up for the challenge. The toy was made of latex rubber and filled with a special gel, which allowed for all that stretching fun. For any 70s kid, Stretch Armstrong was the ultimate stress test for toys. But if you were a hyper child, chances are you wanted the Evel Knievel stunt cycle. If there was one toy that allowed kids to live out their wildest stunt dreams, it was the Evel Knievel stunt cycle. This toy was on the wish list of every kid, especially the adrenaline-filled children. It allowed kids to replicate Evel Knievel's death-defying stunts, minus the broken bones. The toy came with a sturdy plastic figure of Evel Knievel, seated on a motorcycle. But the real magic was in the Energizer, a hand-cranked launcher that once wound up. would send the bike zooming across the room. Kids would set up ramps, jumps, and obstacle courses, setting their Evel Knievel figure flying through the air, mimicking the iconic stunts that had captivated audiences across America. For kids in the 70s, Evel Knievel wasn't just a stuntman, he was a symbol of daring, bravery, and living life on the edge. Owning this toy made you feel like a mini Evel, conquering jumps in your own living room or backyard. Before the era of complex video games, there was Mattel Electronic Football, a tiny handheld device that gave 70s kids a taste of the future of gaming. This simple but addictive game became an instant hit, thanks to its portability and novelty of being able to take football anywhere. The game featured a small rectangular screen with tiny LED dots representing players on a football field. The objective was simple: move your little running back up and down the field, avoiding defenders, also represented by LED dots, and score a touchdown. With only a few buttons, the controls were basic, and that didn't make the game any less intense. Mattel Electronic Football may seem primitive by today's standards, but in the 1970s, it was cutting edge. For kids, it was a way to play football anytime, anywhere, on road trips, at school, when teachers weren't looking, or even under the covers late at night. For many kids, this was their first introduction to handheld gaming, a trend that would dominate future decades. Video gaming was still a strange, futuristic concept in the 70s, until Pong changed everything. Pong was a straightforward 2D game that simulated table tennis. Its genius lay in its simplicity: 2 paddles, 1 ball, and an objective so basic it took mere seconds to understand, yet hours to master. As one of the first arcade games, it laid the groundwork for the entire video game industry. Players controlled their paddles with dials, trying to send the pixelated ball past their opponent's paddle. The cultural impact of Pong was massive. It didn't just entertain, it brought video gaming into homes and arcades everywhere. For many, Pong was their first introduction to video games, and it quickly became a symbol of the growing tech boom. When Speak and Spell hit the market in 1978, it was like something straight out of a sci-fi movie. Using groundbreaking speech synthesis technology, it didn't just flash words on a screen, it pronounced them out loud, something unheard of at the time. For kids, Speak and Spell felt like magic. It had a bright orange design with a built-in keyboard, and the goal was simple: type in the word you were given, and the device would tell you whether you spelled it correctly. It even had different difficulty settings, making it a versatile tool for learning. For many kids, Speak and Spell was their first experience interacting with a talking machine. It wasn't just fun, it was educational, paving the way for future tech and speech synthesis and electronic learning tools. Plus, some kids discovered you could even make it say silly things, a win-win for everyone. If there's one gadget from the 1970s that truly revolutionized home entertainment, it was the Atari 2600. This was one of the first home video game consoles to use interchangeable cartridges, allowing players to swap out games as easily as changing records. The 2600 was a game changer, literally. The Atari 2600 came with a joystick and a single button controller, and while the graphics were basic by today's standards, they were groundbreaking at the time. Atari's influence on the gaming industry is still felt today. It helped to lay the foundation for modern consoles like PlayStation and Xbox, and for many 1970s kids, it was their first taste of a new kind of entertainment. Owning an Atari 2600 in the 1970s made you the coolest kid on the block. In the 1970s, photography also became more accessible to everyday families, and much of that was thanks to the Kodak Pocket Instamatic. This compact camera was designed to fit in your pocket, making it easier than ever to capture memories on the go. It didn't produce instant prints like the popular Polaroids, but it did use Kodak's innovative 110 film cartridges, which simplified the entire photo-taking process. The beauty of the Kodak Pocket Instamatic was in its simplicity and portability. With this sleek gadget, you could snap pictures anywhere, whether on family vacations, at birthday parties, or just hanging out in the backyard with friends. For kids, it was the ultimate tool to play photographer, allowing them to document their lives in a way that wasn't possible before. Its affordability and ease of use made it a huge hit, and many people still have fond memories of their first Kodak shots tucked away in family albums. For kids in the 1970s, nothing said freedom quite like a big wheel. This low-riding tricycle, with its oversized front wheel and strong plastic frame, became an instant favorite as soon as it hit the market. The big wheel really took off in the 1970s as the go-to ride for kids who wanted to race around the neighborhood in style. The design wasn't just about looks. Its low center of gravity made it safer than traditional tricycles, and the durable plastic frame meant it could withstand all the bumps and scrapes kids threw at it. Parents loved it because it was budget-friendly and relatively safe. While kids loved the excitement of racing around on their new favorite vehicle, it wasn't just a toy, it was an adventure on wheels. If there's one gadget that's the perfect definition of the weird 70s culture, it is the pet rock. This pet rock was quite literally a rock, marketed as a low-maintenance pet for those who couldn't handle the responsibilities of a real one. It came in a small cardboard box with air holes and a funny instruction manual detailing how to care for your new pet. While it might seem ridiculous, the pet rock became an overnight sensation. For just a few dollars, you could own the world's easiest pet. No feeding, no walking, no cleaning up after it. It was the ideal funny gift, but it sold millions and became a cultural phenomenon. The simplicity of the pet rock was proof that sometimes the simplest ideas are the most brilliant. If you grew up in the 70s, summertime was for the Snoopy snow cone machine. This toy allowed kids to make their icy treats right at home. Shaped like Snoopy's doghouse with the lovable beagle perched on top, the machine came with all the tools you needed to create your very own snow cones. The concept was simple: place ice cubes in the top, crank the handle and watch the shaved ice fall into the cup. Add some flavored syrup and voila, homemade snow cones. For kids, this was a chance not to only enjoy a cool treat, but also be involved in the process of making it. The Snoopy snow cone machine became a summertime staple, offering kids the satisfaction of making their snow cones and, of course, showing off their creations to their friends. Now it's your turn. Which of these gadgets were your favorites growing up? Were there any of these gadgets you always wanted but never got your hands on? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video if you enjoyed it. See you in the next one.